Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to my mini review series, where today I will be talking about Verdun on the PS4. So, Verdun is a first-person shooter set during World War I, and no, don't worry, it's not Battlefield. You fellas have realistic weapons. You'll have single-shot rifles, you'll have slow and heavy machine guns that need to be set to be shot well. You'll get trench clubs and spades when you get close to them, and pistols that kind of, I don't know, feel a bit OP when they got 32 bullets in them, but that's another story, don't worry. It's an online only game. They have kind of modes for single player, but if you don't have an internet connection, don't bother. It's multiplayer only. There is no campaign, there is no story mode. It's just multiplayer, guys. So, you know, recognize that. It's kind of like your Call of Battlefield duties multiplayer bits without the story bits on top. Now, I'm not going to waste your time too much talking about the gameplay modes, because most of them aren't very fun and they don't have a lot of a player base, so don't bother with them. The only mode you should be playing on Verdun is the Frontlines mode, okay? This is where it is at, okay? This is where it is at on a fundamental level. The game pits two teams of 16 players, split into 4 squads of 4. You'll be on a squad of 4 with 3 mates, or 3 randos, who knows. Now, it's kind of a tug-of-war situation where they have a trench and you've got to try and capture it, and then you've got to try and hold it if you capture it, and then they'll counter-attack, and then they'll try and get your trench, and then they'll hold it, and then they'll counter-attack. It's really quite good. It kind of forces you to advance and defend and maneuver and dig in, but then counter-attack. It's very fun. That being said, Verdun is tough, okay? Matches last about half an hour, and it's kind of a points-based system, so if you catch a trench, you get a point. If the enemy get it back, they get a point. It's very hard, and initially it's very difficult to figure out where the enemy is. You'll do a lot of dying, guys. I'm sorry. Soldiers look very similar from one another at a distance, and it's hard to tell people apart. Expect your teammates to randomly shoot you on reflex and expect to do the same. Luckily, there's no such thing as friendly fire, so you guys are alright. Allied bullets are safe for allies, apparently, as is Axis bullets safe for the Axis. Really, what makes it hard, on top of this already very hard thing, is the fact that Verdun has no kill cam, and many of your weapons are one-hit kills. Expect to die all the time from like popping your head up a trench or running down no man's land or just laying down and camping. Bullets fly and they hit hard. And as well as dying often, you sometimes get a wait. It can be 10 minutes, 10 seconds, it can be 5 seconds. Sometimes it can be up to 30 seconds of downtime. So it's get good or get gone, kiddos. Get good or get gone. Stylistically, the maps aren't great. I mean, they're good if you're a war nut and you like trenches, but otherwise it's dull. It's a lot of mud, it's a lot of wooden floorboards, it's a lot of craters. Some maps are a bit varied with a bit of a meadow and some trees, and one's got a fort, but it's still dominated mostly by mud, okay? Uniforms and infantry look great, but again, when you're playing it, you can't tell a damn thing, and you can't really tell them apart, so expect to die. It's not all bad though, okay? Verdun is not all bad. The sound is very good. Everything feels quite realistic when you're firing. Everything moves quite nicely as well when you're playing it. You also have a decent team system where one player is an officer and the other troopers will spawn on that officer. Each of the other troopers will have a specialty as well. Someone might have grenades, someone might have the machine gun, someone might have a sniper rifle. It's if you work together well, you can do quite a lot in your buddy system. And to be honest with you, if you get 3 buddies and you to play this game and you get good, you will dominate a disorganized opponent. Honestly, you can rock at this game. Sadly, I am talking about the PS4 version, and it feels a little bit like an inferior port. There's not the biggest player base, okay, and that is a massive issue. If you want to team up with your buddies and have a 4-man game, expect your first 2 or 3 games to be quite underpopulated as it slowly builds up and adds in the players. Just in the gameplay world as well, expect a lot of mad dashes and a lot of death. Some of the weapons are very hard to use. I really struggle with automatic weaponry, it's not very accurate, and I really struggle with the sniper rifles. Expect a lot of downtime, and the other thing that really takes me out of the game is to make the gameplay work where you have to move in and out of zones. it'll have a system where if you move forward beyond your trench, you'll get shot for cowardice if you don't move back in 10 seconds. Or if you're stuck out in no man's land halfway through advancing to a trench and then the orders change, you'll get shot for cowardice. And these odd zone of play really take me out of it. I would like to see it implemented maybe a bit better. Maybe if you're the attacking team, spawn you on the lip of a trench, and if you go back then you'll get shot. But don't have it where I'm out in no man's land trying to fight, and I won't live long anyway, and I get shot for cowardice. It doesn't make a great deal of sense, so I'm very sorry about that. But like I said, gameplay is fast and it's smooth and it's pleasurable when you're good. There is also a huge number of different nations, like there were in the war, and each of them have 4 different characters, and each character has 3 different specialties. So there's a ridiculous amount of variety there, guys, for those who want to kind of scratch under the surface and explore the gem beneath it all. It's also a little indie company, and it's quite a cheap game, and it's also a very unique game, so on those senses it's good. I'll have a little chat about history for a minute. Obviously World War I was a thing, and many people died, and that was obviously awful. Now this game doesn't really look into that, to be honest with you. You could maybe argue it has the whole show don't tell thing, with the you're a character, you live, you get shot, you die, you come back, you repeat, you're still got to capture that trench, it doesn't matter how many go. But it just chooses just not to acknowledge that war was a thing, which might be good, it might be bad. I am no one to judge, I'm sorry. But why is it good? Why is it here? And why do I play it? Well, I mostly play it because of what the game represents, okay? And it's a game similar to many other games. Well, not many other games, very few other games, in fact. It's kind of a period in history, and it's a type of game that isn't really tackled by many developers or creators. Think of Mount and Blade and Napoleonic Wars, right? How many other games like that do you know? Verdun is similar. How many other games do you know that feel like that tackle those things? And as a bit of a history buff, I want to promote all of that. Imagine playing a game that puts you in the Boxer Rebellion, or in the Boer War, or during the Indian Uprising, or in the English Civil War, and it puts you in a pair of boots on the ground at that time. Imagine playing as troopers retreating through the Khyber Pass, okay? We need more games like this. I will always support more games like this. To do it in an accurate way as they do it, and to try as much as they try, even if not everything works, it's a type of magic, and it's a type of magic rarely seen. But if you're on your own and you don't have anyone else interested, probably give it a miss.